Once upon a time in northeastern London around 1867 to 1868, a charming fellow named DIO was born into the lap of luxury. Well, not really. DIO's father, Darius Brendel, the ugliest bastard I've ever seen in my life, was the life of the party, mainly because he was an alcoholic who enjoyed a good round of father-son bonding through beatings. DIO's secret despise for his dear old dad was only matched by his affection for his mother, who unfortunately has the misfortune of kicking the bucket. Young DIO, living in a poor neighborhood, enjoying the torment of an abusive father and timely demise of his beloved mother. As if that wasn't enough drama for one childhood, their old dad decided it's time to kick things up a notch. In a classic dad move, Dario bits DIO for not bringing home the right kind of medicine. Apparently, alcohol is the only cure for a beating-induced headache. To add insult to injury, Dario suggests selling his dad's mom's dress to replenish his booze fund. Classy move. Furious and disgusted, DIO decides it's high time to rid himself of the deadweight called Dario. Enter Wang Sean, the neighborhood pharmacist, or maybe not, but he does have the perfect poison for DIO's daddy issues. After administering a lethal dose to Dario, DIO learns about Jojo's death and is handed the keys to the Joestar fortune on a silver platter. In my opinion, this dad might seem bad, but him giving DIO a chance at a life kind of him, maybe. Couldn't he just have used that favor to leave DIO completely? That doesn't add up. Bastard dub. Fast forward to DIO's grand entrance at the Joestar mansion, where he meets the apple of his eye, Jonathan Joestar. But before exchanging pleasantries, DIO decides to showcase his charming personality by dismantling Jonathan's dog's face with a swift kick. Peter, watch this, man. You've just won the heart of dogs lovers everywhere. Unimpressed by the local gentleman, DIO unleashes his master plan of psychological torment, including but not limited to beating and stealing from poor Jonathan. All in good fun, of course. In a brilliant display of sportsmanship, DIO challenges Jonathan to a boxing match, putting their monthly allowance on the line. Spoiler alert, DIO takes Jonathan's lunch money and throws a bonus eye poke. Just kidding, they share a lunch like high school sweethearts. Impressed by his own footwork and blood fireworks making steel, DIO proceeds to anyone within earshot, effectively isolating him from the cool kids club. DIO decides to take his charming antics up a notch by forcibly stealing Aaron and Pendleton first kiss. That shit end flying in 2024, bro. We get cancelled faster than Stephen Hawking fight to Epstein's Island. However, DIO's joy is short-lived as Erna watches the encounter with the muddy water, leaving DIO fuming and in need of anger management. The brothers confront each other and DIO, in a fit of rage, decides to punch Jojo. Big mistake. Jonathan, now a full-fledged man, gives DIO a beating that brings tear to his eye. DIO pulls out a knife. Enter George, the ultimate party pooper, breaking up the fight and saving the day. Meanwhile, Jonathan notices the stone max on the wall with mysterious spikes splatting from it, but who cares about that when there's a family feud to attend to? DIO takes a dark turn by tying up Jonathan's faithful dog, Danny, and tossing him into the incinerator. Maybe DIO's part Chinese? In a surprising turn of events, DIO's master plan to emotionally manipulate Jonathan goes down the drain when he realizes that his stepbrother has a backbone made of steel. DIO switches gear, playing the good guy act and pretending to be Jonathan's BFF and girlfriend. After 7 years, both DIO and Jonathan are attending Hugh Hudson Academy. DIO, ever the aspiring law student, plans to graduate at the top of his class while maintaining his friendly facade. Little does Jonathan know that DIO is just bidding his time, waiting to poison his way into his pants to have a touch of that muscular, sexy body. The plot thickens as DIO attempts to secretly poison George Joestar, but Jonathan, being the clever detective he is, catches wind of DIO's diabolical plan by reading some conveniently placed letters. The confrontation soon follows, with an epic and fiery battle that left the Joestar house in ashes. Jonathan won that fight by penetrating DIO after he jumped from the wall. Sounds kinky, but we all know people who watch Jojo are real. Man, we're going straight for the cock. Fast forward to DIO putting on the stone mask, transforming into a vampire and wreaking havoc. When Knight's Law, DIO's plan to take over London, is foiled when he learns about the Ripple, the only thing that can destroy him. Who would have thought? Jonathan defeats him again twice after that. However, he survives all those defeats like a cockroach and takes Jonathan's bodies for himself. Now, if you think about it, maybe DIO is actually kinda gay. In the 1980s, DIO's casket is recovered from the coast of Africa by treasure hunters who for some strange reason don't make it out alive. Dio then embarks on a globe-trotting adventure, leaving his mark from Egypt to Japan. The classic twist, he decides to leave a lasting legacy in, because why not spread semen for the boys too? In 1986, Dio meets Enya the Hag, gains a stand power named the World, and indulges in a little game of bullet dodging. He slows down town so much he kinda makes the scaling of his power unclear. In the late 80s, Dio's path crosses Jean-Pierre Polnareff, brainwashing him for good measure. Enter Enrico Pucci, a foot disfigured fellow from Dio Hills, and gives the stand arrow. Dio, always the strategist, lays out his grand plan for achieving an ideal heaven, complete with notebook diagrams and everything. Dio questions Pucci's loyalty. Why doesn't he use Whitesnake to remove the world from him? Pucci, ever the devoted follower, professes his love for Dio, comparing it to the divine. Now that's what I'm talking about. Now kiss. Dio, in a gesture of trust, leaves one of Jonathan's bone in Pucci's care, because nothing says I trust you like handing over a piece of your late stepbrother. How did he even do that? And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stardust Crusaders, where Dio, now sampling is known as Dio, resumes his shenanigan in the late 80s. His stand remains a mystery to the Joestars and their pal. Dio's ambitious plan: drain the blood of the Joestar lineage, fuse with Jonathan's body, and take full control of the world. Because when you're a vampire, world domination is just the blood transfusion away. As Dio's lounges in his mansion, he receives update on the Joestar's group's progress. After a failed attempt to confront Dio, learns the hard way that you don't mess with the vampire with time-stopping powers. Feeling humiliated, whole horse attempts to sneak attack on Dio, only to be outmaneuvered and sped by the charismatic vampire. I'm in love. The Joestar's group finally reaches Dio's mansion, and Vanilla Ice, one of Dio's loyal minions, reports the defeats of his comrades. In a dramatic twist, Dio reveals himself to Polnareff, toying with him during a time-stop mind game, but Polnareff, fueled by determination, holds his ground, leading to a showdown on the stairs flooded with sunlight. Because when you're a vampire, dramatic lighting is a must. Dio punishes Nuxaku, the resident traitor, and showcases his flair for the dramatic by cutting him into pieces. The Joestar's group, Samson Gurger, decides to jump out of a window for a stylish escape. Dio, ever the fabulous straight man, retreats to the shadow to avoid the pesky sunlight. Now to a thrilling car chase where Dio commandeers a limousine and forces the senator to play Grand Theft Auto by making him drive into a sidewalk. Kaioken attempts an attack with Cairo friend Green, but Dio effortlessly deflects it with a flick of his fingers. Because when you're Dio, even stand battles are a display of elegance. In a rooftop showdown, Dio confronts Joseph and Kaioken, engaging in a battle that showcases the limit of the world's power. Dio, in a display of sheer vampire prowess, stops time and throws a knife at Kaioken, revealing the stand's close-range nature. The plot thickens as Kaioken rivals Hierophant Green, creating a network of invisible tentacles. With his network of tentacles, Kaioken can determine if his emerald slash is really unguardable or not. He says it's unguardable, but even Mario can deflect it. Kidding aside, the tentacles are for determining what Dio's stand power is. Skipping a bit, Dio manages to break Jotaro's ankle and suck the living shit out of Joseph. Look at him. Dio hit him with that Glug 3000, and Dio takes the opportunity to fully synchronize with Jonathan's body. Unlocking a 9 seconds time stop, the battle intensifies as Jotaro challenges Dio to a Swiss fight. Star Platinum against the World, and it's a close match, but the World prevails. Dio, in one of the pure genius, decide to drop a roller coaster on Jotaro. A fucking roller coaster. He really used like 7 seconds looking for a road roller just to finish Jotaro in style. You gotta respect that man. Jotaro, not want to be outdone, reveals his newfound ability to stop time. In a nail-biting sequence, he crushes Dio's luck, turning the tables on our vampire overlord. Dio, determined to go out in style, squirts some blood into Jotaro's eyes, blinding him. But Jotaro, so resourceful, lands a final punch, destroying the world and ending Dio's reign of vampiring terror. Doctors from the Speedwagon Foundation perform a blood transfusion, reviving Joseph and laying Dio's remain in the Sahara Desert. This is the exact moment where we say goodbye to this maniac with an extensive list of crime attributed to him. Just look at this. DIO's legacy lives on through the ages, from diamond to unbreakable and beyond. Whether it's impregnating certain suspecting women or dropping red roller on its suspecting heroes, the Red Blender remains a timeless icon on the world of Jojo's bizarre adventure.